this is sort of the element of surprise or discovering something at the last minute. And it was April 2018, and I stumbled across a call for submissions to an anthology called Gone Dogs, Tales of Dogs We've Loved. So it was an anthology that a man called Jim Mitchum and a woman called Lori Smithwick in the US were putting together. And they wanted people to write stories and poems about dogs they've had, but who have since passed away. When I saw the submission opportunity, the deadline was literally like, I think it was maybe an hour away. So it was a late evening and I was, holy cow. But I knew I had this poem and I thought, well, I'm just going to send it, and if they get to accept it, well, they do. And if they don't, well, that's my bad luck. So it was a poem called Dog Disobedience. And it was about an experience my late dog Hazel and I had in a dog obedience class that we attended. Well, the very next morning, I received an email from Jim Mitchum, and he wrote, "Boy, what a great poem. We'd love to feature it." So, and they did. And the book is it's sort of almost a coffee table style book, and it's available online. It's got great stuff in it. Photographs. Well, here's my picture of Hazel and her poem. I call it her poem. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
But anyway, that was a real thrill because, hey, it's a book and it's on Amazon. I hate Amazon, but like, I know that's what people love to shop on. So that was really exciting. And
I was just curious. You said you saw it, you saw the announcement for the competition. Where did you see the announcement?
Well, it was online and I cannot recall actually where I saw it. I did a search and I couldn't, who knows? Because I'm always looking at, I'm very interested in animals. And so it wasn't through Submittable, which is the online social platform for submitting literature to publications. Actually, every literary, as you know, literary competition or a submission opportunity, it always has a deadline. And I mean, most of us, we respect deadlines, and we should respect deadlines because obviously it allows the editors to do their work, etc. And but the thing is, once in a while, it never hurts to query. Say you're just past the deadline, say the next day or two, to query and say, look, I've got this poem, especially if it's a theme, it really fits your theme. Would you be willing to accept it? And I've had at least 2 instances where they did, and the poems were published. The thing that we have to remember is, of course, editors are looking for work. They want content. And if you're working on publishing, as you know, Rachel, a regular magazine or journal, you've got to fill those pages. And if something half decent or of good quality comes in, yeah, you're going to be happy for it. You can always fit it in. So that's one thing, is respect the deadlines, but don't be afraid to query, especially if you think you've got that special poem that would just suit that journal or that theme or whatever it might be. And the other thing about these particularly contests, and sometimes there is a fee for submitting, is that literary journals function on a tight budget. And when you submit and you pay your fee, that helps them in continuing to do the work they do. So I think that it would be a hard-pressed editor who, if this $20 submission fee is in PayPal, that they're going to say no because it's 5 hours or a day late. And the other thing is, a lot of the time I'll see a deadline coming up and think, oh shoot, I missed that deadline. Check it out, because many literary journals extend the deadlines, and that's because they haven't had enough submissions. So, obviously submissions mean more income for the journal. So do go back and check. If there's something that you might have missed, it's worthwhile. So that's on deadlines. The other thing I wanted to say about submitting, and this is particularly true on Submittable, where there are a lot of opportunities to submit, but quite often they're literary journals I've never heard of. I don't know where, you know, of who reads them or are they any good or whatever, but be selective. Check out the journal before you impulsively submit to it, because once that poem is published, it's very rare that submission opportunities are for poems that have already been published. They invariably want unpublished work. So if you have written a special poem or a really great poem you feel is worth publishing, and you submit it to, I'm sorry, some little podunk, you know, thing, that sounds terrible, but you know what I mean.
So,
I have done that several times. So then next time when I see, oh, that poem would have been perfect for this contest or theme issue or whatever, but you can't send it because it's already been published. And they're tight, even if it's been published in a limited run little wee chapbook that your writing group produced, that is still published. So there's no getting around it. You can't fudge it, because who knows, they may find out about that little, you know, back to the hills publishing opportunity.
And then you would be disqualified.
Oh yeah, well, not only that,
Yeah.
I mean, your name would be mud in any circles that they would, you know, and who knows, it is a small world.
So
The other
I'm sorry, you're just going to say, so it really pays to know the magazine that you're submitting to read it first.
Yeah, especially through a submittable. Most of them are in the States, some are international. There was one thing I submitted to, and they actually accepted it. But when I looked at it, I thought, what? And you can pull your work back. I just decided, no, I'd rather not. So I emailed them, and I, you know, apologetically asked if they could please, you know, reject the poem after all. That sounds really crazy, but it is worthwhile, because, you know, your poems are your special babies. You want them to end up in good homes. So
Indeed.
let's see. Okay, I think I've covered those points. Yeah, the other thing about fees, writing contests do have fees, and I know for most of you folks, you're young writers, you don't have a lot of money. Many contests will have a sliding scale, and some will even waive the submission fee in some instances. So if you're an aspiring poet, but you're a young person with really no money, it never hurts to ask the editor if there's an opportunity for a sliding scale fee, or even to be waived the fee. In the current climate of creating more opportunities and opening doors for BIPOC writers, for example, a lot of the time those competitions or those submission opportunities don't have fees,
right,
which actually is really good. So,
and I just want to mention that for Townships Young Voices, for our awards, there are no fees to enter.
Excellent, excellent. And sometimes too, when I see submission opportunities and it says no fee, my first reaction is, well, is that going to be any good? But you know, those are just, some literary journals do have a great budget, and they feel like we want to get a wider range of work, and it's their generosity to do that. So it's really worthwhile considering. You know,
in our case, it's not because we're so rich, but we do have a grant for this. So it's the generosity of the Townshippers Foundation.
Yeah. And the upside of paying the fee sometimes is that you get a subscription to the literary journal. Here's Fiddlehead, published out of Fredericton. And another thing about these literary journals is at the back, they always run ads of other writing contests or submission opportunities. This is another one published out of California called Rattle. I would never have known about it if I hadn't submitted to their contest. And they have quite a few different types of contests. And the poetry they publish is really good. They also, with every issue, they have a chapbook that they publish through another aspect of their range of submission opportunities. So if you don't mind cluttering up your house with literary journals, and after I finish them, I will put them in those writing, you know, those book boxes that people put on street corners, or I'll take them to the library and donate them there, because they're recent. They're often quite interested in that kind of thing.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's
so
great. Okay, well, that is really very helpful. Thank you so much.